Hello and welcome back to Speed Demon Painting. Today we are taking a look at the November releases from Warcradle Studios. This month sees the release of three different boxes for Dystopian Wars, the first being the Falkenstein set coming for the Imperium, next we have the Kuron Battlefleet set coming for the Alliance, and the Egyptians are getting their frontline squadrons so they can expand on the Abydos set, which was released 2 months ago. The biggest box of the three is the Kuron Battlefleet set, which can be seen here. It comes with a massive carrier in the center, and it comes with two of the skimmer sets, the skimmer sprues that we found before, the Levant sprues, and it comes with two frontline sprues as well. The central flagship actually comes in two different variants. We have the regular Kuron class Grand Carrier, which comes with three rocket batteries depicted here. I'm not entirely sure if these are going to be resin. It looks like they are going to be, because well, there are no small or regular rocket batteries, I should say, on any of those sprues mentioned before, so I assume that they're going to be resin parts included for that one as well. On top of that you get two extra torpedo turrets. You do have some spare ones on the frontline sprue, so I'm guessing those will probably be plastic. And of course the other main weapon is that big heat lance that is mounted at the top, and speaking of that big heat lance, that one can actually be changed to form this lovely little thing, La Dame Liberté, which is an upgrade that you can add to your Kuron class to actually have another heat lance, as it had previously, but there is also a generator formed on here, a Solex generator that comes along with it. On top of that, it also gains the inspirational rule, and you can clearly see why. Now, if this isn't exactly your cup of tea, don't worry, you can always build the standard version, but I can imagine that it will be possible to add a bit of magnets to it, or use a bit of blue tack to change these parts out as well, so you can swap in between your games. If you've got a few points left over, it's never a bad idea to upgrade them as such. I absolutely love this model though. It's a throwback to the old La Dame Liberté statue on the sort of weird hoverboard that Spartan Games used to have. This one looks a bit more plausible, and I still love it. I mean, it just screams France, with the base being pretty much La Tour Eiffel at the bottom of it, and then La Dame Liberté on top of that. It's just absolutely wacky but wonderful. Apart from the main flagship, you of course also get the skimmers that come in there. There can be three variants: the Chasseur class, that's sort of the normal firepower one, seen here with the full heat lance upgrade. Quite an expensive ship, but can absolutely ruin someone's day if it gets to fire on them on point blank. The second version is the Furieux class Grand Corvette. This one actually has some Legionnaire assault pods and acts as the landing vessel for the French. So if you haven't built any of these yet, I can imagine that the ground tokens being out now in the Fortunes of Glory set, that these are going to be more important as we see new missions coming up in the future that actually use these ground tokens. And then finally, as if the 10 SRS were not enough of the Kuron, you can actually add to them with the Volière class Levant support carrier as well, to add more onto it. The French fighters, the Malinois fighters, are actually quite a bit better than normal SRS squadrons, so it's not a bad idea to play heavy on into SRS with this faction. In addition, you will also be able to make two surface cruisers. The first one is the heaviest one, the Charlemagne class option for the cruisers. An absolute favourite of mine. The amount of firepower it has is insane. Well, it has the heavy firepower rule to begin with, but can really punish your opponent, because that's a lot of firepower. I think I will be building the Chevalier class next. I haven't built any of them yet, because I don't have that many frontline French sprues yet, but I'm going to try with these two with two heat lances, or potentially two magnetic bombards on top of there as well, to have a bit of fun long range firepower. However, the Loire class is also quite interesting, especially now with the new named variants, Les Ratons Laveurs, that you can build with them. It's not a bad option to make. And if you want to go for the lightest version, the Picardie class, with its torpedo turrets and the option to change this one out for a heavy magnetic bombard, you can really add some long range firepower to your French list as well, if the Chevalier was a bit too expensive for you. And if you want to have a slightly more tanky force, because these are difficult to take down as well. In addition, you also have some fun Mass 1 options. The Epaular class artillery submarine with the regular magnetic bombard definitely is one of them. And now with the new Silent Hunter edition, the Sirene class attack submarine is definitely a strong contender as well. So good news, they all have been buffed. And of course you get 4 Écuyers, which is just about perfect because you can attach these écuyers to any French unit, including that lovely little new flagship, the Couronne, to protect it from incoming rockets and torpedoes. Next up we have the Falkenstein Battlefleet set, and this is a bit of a return to the old school style of Battlefleet sets back when they came with a large Mass 3 flagship and then just 2 sprues, one of each type in this case, a Prussian support sprue and a Prussian frontline sprue. It's been a while since one of these boxes has been released, but I'm glad that they haven't forgotten about them yet, because this really is a nice little addition to any Imperium player who bought into the one-player starter set, because that neatly expands your frontline sprues and your support sprues to 3 each, which is good because those are the maximum numbers for your cruisers in most situations. The actual Falkenstein class itself seems to come with a rocket battery front, which is taken from the frontline sprue, along with some smaller rocket batteries mounted on the side. So that's 4 rocket batteries, 2 heavy ones, and I imagine this is pretty much the same on the other side. If we flip it around, you can see 2 of the rocket batteries to support all of that. So that's a decent amount of firepower in that front part of the ship. And on top of that, we also have the new and updated Conrad design that can be fitted in the back with the smaller bridge here all the way tucked to the side. And I kind of like this design. This is quite sleek and it's something different, really a hybrid thing, and it still runs on those tracks. So it's almost like it's a Tempelhof with sort of the exhausts to the side here, but a bit of a mix with a Conrad and then a front end from an Elector. It's quite a unique design, this one. It also looks to me like this will be an excellent set for beginners, because yeah, if you bought the one-player starter set and you want to add some extra SRS tokens to your force, you definitely can now with the Falkenstein class as a second flagship, and still have quite a bit of extra firepower in the mix as well. Couple that with a Kaiser, and you probably have a pretty competitive list beginning with your one-player starter set. So yeah, pretty good box. I personally haven't gotten any of the upgraded Gen 2 sprues, if you will, for the Imperium, but I can imagine that the Conrad build option will no longer be possible, because that one's taken up by the Falkenstein, but you can still build the Volsung class, as depicted here, and probably the Reiter as well, although it remains to be seen if you'll have enough of these Vierling autocannon parts to actually make all of them. I probably can, because I've got a few spare parts, but the Reiter might not be an option because of a limited amount of autocannons. You will, however, still be able to build any Sigmar or Toten class if you want to as well, so those are always good for the Mass 1 options as well. Both of them excellent additions to your fleet, by the way, if you are looking at this from a more competitive point of view. You will still have the parts to make a Blücher class option, because that front end is provided twice on each sprue, at least it was in Generation 1, so I imagine that's still a case in Generation 2 as well. And you can make the Augustus class option, and you probably can build the Bertha Bombard as well with this one if you want to add a bit of blast firepower to your Imperium force. And of course the Schaumburg is still an option, which is the logistical support version that you can make out of these cruisers too. If you don't build the Reiter, you can make the Arminius class frigate, but this should also be possible to make the, I think it's the Nachtsturm version, where you swap out the front end for a Vierling autocannon, and it'll sort of be a bit of a puzzle for you to decide on what you want to build, and if you have enough of those Vierling autocannon to upgrade these to the Nachtsturm, for instance. And then finally, the Egyptians, the people from the Sultanate, should be happy because they can now expand and get more hovercraft into their forces if they didn't buy into the Abydos multiple times. The first option is of course the Mandejet class, which is also a flagship option, so even if you didn't buy the Abydos set yet, you can just buy this sprue multiple times and still have a legal frontline squadron, or frontline battle fleet I should say, for the Egyptians. The other options that you can make with it is the Sabah class skimmer, which comes with this lovely little rocket battery thing in the front if you want some long range firepower, and there's a few other options here as well, this being the Mesektet, which is something I've built 3 times when I got my Abydos set. which is sort of their main firepower, their medium skirmisher kind of ship. And then it also has two options for the mass ones, the first one being the Hashashin class, which is the fastest but most lightly armed version of the two, because you can still build the upgraded version as well, the Kopesh class, if you want. And there we have it, no scenery for this month, and I imagine that it's quite busy times production-wise with the Fortune and Glory set as well from last month. Speaking of, I have actually gotten my review copy, and I am working on recording all of the footage for there as well, but I don't just do an unboxing, I usually do a review with what can be built, the sort of the build procedure, if there's any tips and tricks involved with those. So if you're looking forward to that video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and possibly hit the thumbs up if you like this video as well, because that really helps the channel grow. Anyway, I hope to see you for that next review video coming up somewhere this week, and yeah, have fun on the tabletop. Bye!